Emma struggled to get up from the floor as Jake entered the room.
Jake, you're back. Want to have a drink with me?
Sign this, and maybe we can have a drink to celebrate.
Jake tossed a document in front of Emma. Her heart sank when she saw the words divorce agreement on the paper.
What does this mean?
Exactly what it says. Can't you understand, Miss High Society from a prestigious university?
The man she had loved for over 3 years. Her father had just passed away, and he couldn't wait to divorce her.
Humph.
Emma gave a bitter smile, got up from the floor, and sat down, picking up a bottle of wine to continue drinking.
I want you to sign it.
Emma raised an eyebrow and looked at Jake defiantly.
Jake, in your dreams.
Jake squatted down and grabbed Emma's chin.
Emma, why do you degrade yourself like this? Your so-called love is just hurting your sister without any limits and climbing into my bed. Do you think I'll love you for that?
Enough. Jake, I am your lawfully wedded wife. You married me, but your heart is still with my sister. Who's degrading whom here?
Jake raised an eyebrow and smiled.
Lawfully wedded? You know very well that if it weren't for your father's coercion, I wouldn't have been forced to marry you. Would Sophia have gone to America? Emma, you ruined my life.
Jake, in a fit of rage, threw Emma onto the sofa. Emma's heart bled. She had given up everything for Jake, but he was blind to it all. Now he wanted to divorce her to be with Sophia?
Jake, you ruined me too. No one forced you to marry me. I'm telling you, divorce is out of the question.
Jake, infuriated by Emma's words, dragged her from the sofa to the carpet and, like a beast, pinned her down, tearing at her clothes.
What are you doing? Jake, you jerk, let go of me.
What am I doing? Isn't this what you want since you refuse to divorce me? I'll give you what you want.
Jake said as he stripped Emma.
Let go of me, Jake, let go.
Emma pleaded softly, but her voice was drowned out by Jake's actions. This was her precious first time. After 3 years of marriage, Jake was callously ravaging her when he wanted a divorce. Tears flowed uncontrollably from her eyes. Emma went to Jake's company to find him but was stopped by the secretary. She had no choice but to wait in the underground parking lot by Jake's car. It wasn't until evening that Jake, with Sophia in his arms, walked into the underground parking lot. Emma followed Jake's car straight to the hotel. When Jake parked, Emma quickly swerved her car in front of his.
Are you crazy?
Shouldn't I be asking you that, husband? What are you doing?
Before Jake could answer, the car door opened, and Sophia stepped out, her white neck marked with conspicuous love bites, which stung Emma's eyes.
What do you think we're doing?
Sophia wrapped her arm around Jake's, almost hanging onto him.
Do you have any sense of shame? Brother-in-law and sister-in-law, what do you call this?
Emma, the one who should have a sense of shame is you. Can you stop clinging to me?
Emma watched as Jake held Sophia's hand, their fingers intertwined.
Jake, do you think this woman truly loves you? If she did, why did she leave 3 years ago? Did you know that 3 years ago, my father gave her the company's inheritance rights? She only cares about money. Now that you've grown the company and it's about to go public, she's come back for you. Are you that foolish?
Sophia, with tears welling up in her eyes, threw herself into Jake's arms.
Jake, it was Dad who said he would give me the company if I left. He forcibly sent me abroad and had people watch over me. Jake, I don't care about the company. If my sister wants it, she can have it. I only want you, Jake.
Sophia cried as she turned her gaze to Emma.
Sister, I know you've been pampered by Dad since childhood, living a life of luxury and valuing money above all else. I can give you everything, but I already have Jake's child. Can you give Jake back to me? I'm begging you.
Jake held Sophia in his arms, tenderly wiping away her tears.
Why didn't you tell me you were expecting? No more crying, our little one won't be happy. Be good, don't cry.
Okay.
Sophia sobbed, like a child who had been wronged. Jake turned to Emma.
Emma, I'm telling you, even if you keep clinging on, this marriage is over.
Emma's mind buzzed, repeatedly hearing Sophia's words about having Jake's child. She was carrying Jake's child? They had a child? Jake, holding Sophia, walked past Emma. Emma saw the triumphant look on Sophia's face and knew she had lost. In love, there is no reasoning. The one who is not loved is the third wheel. Emma stayed at home alone for several days, lying in bed without eating or drinking, like someone waiting for the end. She knew her love was beyond saving. No matter what she did, it would be futile. The knight who saved her in childhood no longer belonged to her. The door slammed shut. Emma stared at the document on the ground, labeled Property Certification.
What is this? From the day Jake and I got married, I voluntarily gave up all inheritance rights to the family business. All assets under Henry's name are inherited by Sophia? This can't be true.
Emma was puzzled. Why would her father do something so impossible back then? There must be a connection between these events. The door slammed shut. Emma looked at the document on the ground. It was clearly labeled Property Certification.
What is this?
She picked it up and opened it, her eyes scanning the words rapidly.
From the day Emma and Jake got married, she voluntarily gave up all inheritance rights to the family business. All assets under Henry's name are inherited by Sophia. This is certified.
Emma was puzzled. From the day she married Jake. Why did her father do something so impossible at that time? There must be some connection between these two events. Emma stared at the document on the ground, the words Property Certification catching her attention. With trembling hands, she picked it up and read it aloud.
From the day Emma and Jake got married, she voluntarily gave up all inheritance rights to the family business. All assets under Henry's name are inherited by Sophia. This is certified.
Emma's mind raced with questions. Why would her father do such a thing? There had to be more to this story. As the door slammed shut, Emma stood there, staring at the document lying on the floor. It was labeled Property Certification. She picked it up, her confusion growing.
From the day Emma and Jake got married, she voluntarily gave up all inheritance rights to the family business. All assets under Henry's name are inherited by Sophia. This is certified.
Emma's mind raced. Why would her father do something so impossible at that time? There must be a connection between these two events.
Sophia, how can you be so shameless? You wretch, I won't let you succeed.
The door slammed shut. Emma looked at the document on the ground. It was clearly labeled Property Certification.
From the day Emma and Jake got married, she voluntarily gave up all inheritance rights to the family business. All assets under Henry's name are inherited by Sophia. This is certified.
From the day she married Jake. Emma was puzzled. Why did her father do something so impossible at that time? There must be some connection between these two events. The door slammed shut. Emma looked at the document on the ground. It was clearly labeled Property Certification.
From the day Emma and Jake got married, she voluntarily gave up all inheritance rights to the family business. All assets under Henry's name are inherited by Sophia. This is certified.
Emma was puzzled. Why did her father do something so impossible at that time? There must be some connection between these two events. Emma confronted Jake, seeking answers.
Because I hate you. Just because you said you liked me, you think you can control my life? You think you can stand above me? I hate being forced by others. I worked hard to become strong, and when I was strong enough, the only thing I wanted to do was to drag you and your father down. Now, do you understand?
Now I realize that loving you was such a grave mistake.
Emma looked at the man in front of her. Perhaps at this moment, she truly understood him.
Emma, you shouldn't have liked me. I've never been a good person. Now, do you understand?
His casual demeanor in those words, spoken so lightly, felt like sharp knives stabbing into Emma, leaving her utterly devastated.
So it was all true, it was true. I was wrong, it was my fault.
Emma stumbled out and ran downstairs. She felt like a joke, just as Sophia had said. For her ridiculous self-assumed love, she had caused the loss of the only person in the world who cared for her. Emma walked down the street, feeling the suspicious glances of passers-by. She wanted to escape immediately, as the voices around her turned into whispers.
Look, that's the eldest daughter of the Sioux family. She caused her father's demise.
Serves her right.
Emma looked around in fear. At this moment, she felt like she was stripped naked and thrown into a crowd. She covered her ears in pain and pushed through the people, running forward. She ran desperately, unaware that she was getting closer to danger. A few meters away, a truck driver stuck his head out of the window and shouted at Emma.
Get out of the way! Are you deaf? Move!
As the truck approached, the blaring horn brought Emma back to her senses. She looked up just as the truck was too close to stop. After the violent impact, Emma didn't feel any pain. She wasn't sure if something had gotten into her eyes, but everything she saw turned a blinding red. Someone ran over, and everything around her seemed to go silent. Her heavy eyelids closed, and her memory froze at that moment. In his office, Jake couldn't shake the uneasy feeling from Emma's strange expression when she left. He frowned and impatiently picked up the phone to call his secretary.
Check if she left the lobby after going down.
Miss Emma had an accident, right in front of the company. Mr. Smith, should we?
Damn it!
Jake cursed, slammed the phone down, and ran outside. When he reached the road, a crowd had gathered, murmuring. He pushed through them and saw Emma lying motionless on the ground, something on her forehead, just like that night. Jake knelt beside Emma, looking at her face, suddenly afraid to get closer. She couldn't really be gone, could she? He didn't dare touch her, only gently shook her arm.
Emma, wake up, wake up.
But she didn't respond. Jake's heart tightened, and he scooped her up, running towards the company entrance. He threw his car keys to the security guard and shouted.
Start the car!
The car sped towards the hospital. Behind the crowd, a face hidden in the shadows watched. It was Sophia, her face beautiful yet venomous. She had followed Emma to Jake's company, watching as Emma, driven to despair by Jake's harsh words, had the accident. Sophia smiled coldly, but her smile froze as she recalled Jake's expression, the anxiety in his eyes that even he might not have noticed, but Sophia did. Was he worried about Emma? No, he couldn't be. Sophia watched the car drive away. She wouldn't give Emma a chance. In the hospital, Jake sat on a cold chair outside the emergency room. For the second time, he had brought Emma to the brink of death. He felt a mix of frustration and headache. Why couldn't he and Emma just get along?
Jake, how is Emma?
How did you know?
I went to the office to find you. The secretary told me Emma had an accident, and you brought her to the hospital.
I don't know yet. She's still in there.
Sophia sat up straight, closed her eyes, and clasped her hands together, murmuring a prayer.
Please, God, let my sister be okay. Let her wake up soon.
Jake held Sophia's hand.
She'll be fine. Sophia, have you seen Emma recently?
No, didn't you say Emma was with Lily? What's wrong?
Nothing, she just seemed strange. Just asking.
Suddenly, Sophia clutched her abdomen, her face turning pale. Jake quickly supported her.
What's wrong, Sophia?
I'm fine, just an old issue.
What old issue? Why didn't I know about this before? What's wrong, Sophia?
Sophia's eyes reddened as she leaned against Jake.
After the last miscarriage, I was left with some problems. Maybe the chair is too cold, and my stomach feels uncomfortable. Jake, can we go home?
All right, we'll leave right away.
Thinking of the child who never came into this world, Jake felt a sharp pain in his heart. The person responsible for their child's loss was lying here. He had already shown her enough mercy by not leaving her to suffer. Jake called the secretary to come to the hospital. As he was about to leave, the emergency room door suddenly opened. Emma was wheeled out. Seeing her pale face, almost blending with the bedsheet, Jake felt a sudden pang of compassion.
Doctor, how is she?
Are you the patient's husband?
What does that matter? How is she?
It matters because the patient is 2 months pregnant. If you're not her husband, please notify her family immediately.
Jake stood there, stunned, his expression unreadable.
Jake, how could she be carrying your child? Didn't you say you didn't love her?
Sophia, of course, I don't love her. My heart has always belonged to you. This child, maybe it happened when I was drunk.
Sophia continued to cry and question him.
Then what about this child? Are you going to terminate the pregnancy now?
No.
Sophia pushed away his hand.
Why not? Are you going to let her have this child? Are you going to be entangled with her for the rest of your life? Don't forget, she caused the loss of our child. That was a part of me. Jake, how can you do this to me?
Sophia's eyes were red with tears. How could she tolerate Emma ruining all her plans?
Don't be sad, Sophia. Jake wiped the tears from Sophia's face. I promise I won't have any more ties with her, including this child. The child will have nothing to do with her. All I want is my child. Do you expect me to end my own child's life?
Sophia knew that no matter how much she argued, Jake wouldn't agree to terminate the pregnancy. If she pushed too hard, he would only grow to dislike her. She had to take it one step at a time, but she wouldn't let Emma have the baby so easily.
Then you have to promise not to see her, not to meet her alone. Jake, promise me that you are only mine.
Sophia pouted and frowned at Jake, who smiled and pulled her close.
If you keep this up, you'll make yourself sick with jealousy. I promise, I'll do as you say. Is that okay?
Yes.
Sophia buried her head in Jake's chest just as the secretary arrived.
Be good, go with Miss Clark for now. I'll go talk to the doctor.
Sophia's face darkened immediately.
See, your promises mean nothing. She started to cry, and Jake pinched her cheek with a smile.
Be good. One is my child, and the other is you. Sophia, you both are equally important to me.
Will you come back soon?
Yes, now go.
After sending Sophia away, Jake found Emma's attending doctor.
Doctor, I'm Emma's husband. How is my wife's condition?
The doctor looked at Jake, shook his head, and handed him a medical file filled with various documents.
Your wife and the baby are both safe, but it's truly a miracle. Your wife didn't suffer any major external injuries, just a mild concussion from a head injury. However, her overall health is very concerning. She has severe gastric atrophy. Has she been on a long-term diet? She is severely anemic, which is very dangerous for both her and the baby. She needs a significant amount of nutritional supplements immediately, or her body won't be able to support the pregnancy.
Then use the best medicine available. I can get the best medicine from abroad. Doctor, please do everything you can.
In the hospital room, Emma opened her eyes to see a nurse changing her bandages.
Where am I?
You were in a car accident. This is the hospital.
Oh, who brought me here?
Your husband.
Husband? Jake? Emma struggled to sit up but felt too weak to move.
You can't get up. Stay still.
As the nurse spoke, Jake walked in. Emma's body tensed up involuntarily, a reaction she couldn't control.
You're awake. Jake placed the porridge he was holding on the bedside table and sat down. The doctor said your health is very poor. You need to stay here for a while. Drink this porridge, it's good for your stomach.
Can you stop being so hypocritical?
Jake's hand froze in midair. He withdrew it, lowered his head, and remained silent for a moment, contemplating something. After a while, he sat by Emma's bed and looked at her.
About your father's situation, there are many underlying reasons. I can't say I have no responsibility at all, but I was the last straw that broke the camel's back.
What do you mean?
Your father faced a huge financial deficit and crossed the legal line. The company was involved in money laundering, and when it was exposed, he came to me for help. I'm sorry, but I didn't help him. If he had been caught, he would have faced at least 20 years in prison. That's why he took his own life.
Emma let out a cold laugh, tears streaming down her face, burning hot.
What I'm saying is true. There's no need for me to lie to you.
Whether it's true or not, he's gone. What's the difference?
Jake knew it made a difference. If Emma believed he was responsible for her father's demise, how could she ever consider having his child?
Drink the porridge.
Emma took the porridge and drank it in large gulps. If she couldn't end her suffering, she would live well. Suddenly, her stomach churned, and she vomited all the porridge onto the floor. Jake's rare patience made Emma uneasy. If she had the strength, she would have left immediately. For 5 days, Jake visited the hospital frequently. Emma gradually stopped feeling dizzy and weak, but she often felt nauseous. Jake's inexplicable concern puzzled her. He couldn't have suddenly developed a conscience, so why was he being so kind to her? Unable to bear the inner torment any longer, Emma sneaked into the chief doctor's office during a quiet noon. She locked the door and found her medical records in a drawer. On the first page, it clearly stated, intrauterine pregnancy, 63 days. That meant she was pregnant. How was that possible? She continued flipping through the records, seeing ultrasound reports and fetal heart monitoring data. These undeniable pieces of evidence left Emma no choice but to believe she was indeed carrying Jake's child. That man had some nerve. He didn't want her anymore, but he still wanted her to bear his child. Emma pretended not to know about her pregnancy and returned to her room obediently. From that day on, Emma seemed to revert to her proud self, demanding things from Jake. She often asked Jake to accompany her for no reason. Sophia was furious about this. Every day, they would put on a show of competing for Jake's attention. Jake seemed to enjoy it. Emma secretly contacted Lily while they were off guard. She transferred the shares her father had given her to Lily, instructing her to sell them to their father's company's competitors. She wanted to leave Jake and Sophia with nothing.
Are you okay?
Better than ever.
Having faced dire circumstances twice, she no longer harbored any illusions about Jake. While with Jake, Emma took the opportunity to extract company secrets and send them to Lily. Sophia, busy competing for Jake's attention, neglected the company's affairs. Within a month, both Jake and Sophia's companies faced crises. One evening, Emma was walking in the hospital park. She needed to stay well to witness the downfall of those despicable people. Lily, dressed in a high-end suit and looking exhausted, appeared before her.
Emma, I've come to take you away.
Jake, who had rushed over upon hearing the news, saw them and was furious.
You two have been together all along. My company's downfall is your doing.
Humph. A company that rose quickly by relying on a father-in-law's support can be brought down with a flick of my finger.
Jake reached for Lily's collar.
Let go. It seems I haven't put enough pressure on you. Do you really want to lose everything?
Jake's eyes flashed with panic, and he withdrew his hand as if burned. This scene deeply hurt Emma. Jake was never her knight in shining armor. Without the rose-colored glasses, he was just an ordinary person. Lily easily took Emma away. The door slammed shut, leaving Emma staring at the document on the ground. It was labeled Property Certification.
What is this?
She opened it hesitantly and read.
From the day Emma and Jake got married, she voluntarily gave up all inheritance rights to the family business. All assets under Henry's name are inherited by Sophia. This is certified.
Emma was baffled. Why would her father do something so unthinkable back then? There must be a connection between these events.